All right, a quick one today. Just wanted to show how you could actually, I guess, compare the code that's in two different repositories. So what's happened is we have our digital mobility solution, and that's actually deployed into production, staging, and development. But what happened is we deployed different, I guess, versions of the code repositories into each of these environments. And now the resources are deployed and linked to each of these different repositories. So if you look at my current directory on my workstation, I've got CTP digital mobility dash production, and then I've got another one for staging. And then I've also got this copy in the development account, so ANL-CTP-digital mobility. All right, so you go into it and you've got all of these different files. Largely they're just text files. And then if you were to go into, let's say, the production directory, it's slightly different. Now let's just open it side by side. Okay, so here I've got the copy that's in development at the moment, and I look at production. Then if I just have them side by side, you can see that there's slight differences. So for example, the get ignore file is missing from the production repository. Then you've got, what else we've got? We've got this XGB feature mapping.json file, and that's actually missing from the development copy. And then also if you went into the code itself, so the index.py file, you'd find there's actually differences in the code itself. So I just wanted to show how you could actually streamline this process of finding the differences between two different repositories. In this case, these are Git repositories, and we're just going to do a comparison. So what I came across was this tool called Pycharm. So Pycharm is a Python development environment, and it has a nice little feature where it allows you to compare not only the files, but the contents of the files. So I'll go over that bit. So you're going to need to install Pycharm. So if we just look up Pycharm, Pycharm, you can go to JetBrains and you can download a copy. So there's either professional or the community version. We're going to be just using the community version. So what I normally like to do is I like to use winget, which is a package manager for Windows, and I just want to install Pycharm using winget. Right, so I just Googled winget install Pycharm. The first link opened up this one, and then if I was to just look up Pycharm, I guess that didn't work. It comes up with the two different versions. And so I've just copied this command, and I've gone to my command line, and if I was to run this command, winget install -e-id JetBrains Pycharm community. Okay, so that's what I'd need to run to install it, and I've already run that on my workstation, but just to show what's actually installed on my account right now, here. So this is, I just did a winget list, and that shows that Pycharm is currently installed. Okay, so now that I've got Pycharm installed, I can run Pycharm. Now let's just close this. So if I was to start from the start, I believe it'd be just opening, navigate to the repository that I want to look at. So let's say we want to start with production. So now I've just simply opened a copy of the production repository. And you can see all the files here. So the index.py file has all the Python application code. And let's say you wanted to do a comparison between my production copy and also comparing it to the development copy here. So the easiest way to do that would be just to select the repository directory, right click and compare with. Then when it brings this up, and then I'm just going to select my development copy. And so here, so we expand this out. You can see it's got a bit of an interface comparing the two different files. So I'll just walk through this line by line. So the first bit is it's got a list of all the different files, and then down the bottom, it'll show you the differences between the, I guess, current state and future state. So in this example, this first line, we've got the .gitignore file. And that's saying that this file is currently missing from our production copy. So there's nothing really to compare with. So the production copy doesn't have a .gitignore file. So if we were to just synchronize the selected, so what that did was simply copied the version on my development folder. So I went back to here, got this file, and then just copied it over to my production copy here, on my production repository. And now that entry has disappeared in terms of differences. So again, same sort of thing. I've got a requirements.txt file here. Again, just press the synchronize button. Okay, now let's go through some of the differences. So here I've got a buildspec.yaml file, and also in the development folder, I've also got that too. Now, if we look at the bottom here, the differences between them. So you can scroll through this document and it'll show you the differences. So you can see here on the development copy, I've actually commented this line out, and on the production copy, it still exists. So this section here, this middle section, you can either click to accept the change from the, I guess, target or the development copy, and I want to bring that onto my production copy on the left, right? So if I was to click this here, now that's just taken this change and applied it to my production copy. Okay, and then it also shows you that the contents are now identical between the two files in this blue section up here. Now, even though it's still listed as a record up here, you can refresh it. This refresh button up here, and now that buildspec.yaml file has disappeared from the differences. So I'll just go through a few more. So here I've opened up my template.yaml file, and again I can go through the two files, both the one on my production account and the one on my, actually it's development and production. And I can just go through line by line, and you can see here. So this one is got a PRD representing production, and here's got dev. So for this example, for these lines, I'm going to leave it because I don't actually want to change the production copy. That's already updated according how I would like it. So those two lines are fine. I don't think there's any kind of ignore. All right. So again, here, these are the subnets. They're already set for the different environments. So development environment and production environments are slightly different. So you've got the security groups, again, that's environment variables. Here we've got all at once and canary deployments. I'm going to leave that. I'm happy with the differences between those two. Those differences only impact the way that the solution gets deployed. Now, if we look at here, I've made a significant change. On the development copy, I've added an API, so a serverless API, and that change doesn't exist on the production copy at the moment. So it'd be just clicking that arrow button, and now when you look at the production copy, it's already copied over the changes up here. So the service API now corresponds to the production copy over here. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of going through each of these changes, and basically once you're happy with it, then going back and saving and committing all those changes in Git. Right? So it would look like I ran a git status, and it can see that I modified the build spec.yaml. I've modified the template.yaml. I've also added a few additional files. So I've added the git ignore and the requirements file. So it may be a matter of running a git add and then a git commit with some sort of message saying that I've now aligned two different repositories from the development environment into the production environment. All right. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to show. And yeah, once you go through all of that, you refresh it, and hopefully you get to a point which you're happy with the differences, or you've resolved all the differences between the two repositories.